I need to tell you this while I still can. While I still remember what it means to be afraid. It started with a simple question. The kind of question that shouldn't change your life. The kind that shouldn't make your neighbors stop smiling at you. Where do dead people go in Millbrook? I'd moved to this town 6 months ago. Charming place. Perfect lawns. Friendly faces. The kind of small town where everyone knows everyone. Where kids still play in the streets until dark. Where doors stay unlocked. My realtor called it a slice of heaven. I should have paid attention to that word, heaven. It was Mrs. Chen who first made me notice. Sweet old woman. Had to be pushing 90. We'd chat over the fence most mornings. She'd tell me stories about her childhood, about her late husband, about her children who'd moved away. Then one Tuesday, I saw her collapse in her garden, just crumpled like a puppet with cut strings. I ran over, called 911, held her hand while we waited. Her breathing was shallow, her pulse barely there. The ambulance came fast. Too fast, actually, like they'd been waiting nearby. Serene smiles as they loaded her onto the stretcher. One of them patted my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, we'll take good care of her." 2 days later, Mrs. Chen was back in her garden. I walked over, still shaken from watching her nearly die. "Mrs. Chen, thank God you're okay. What did the doctors say? Was it your heart?" She looked at me with that same strange, peaceful smile I'd seen on the paramedics. "Oh, sweetie, I'm fine. I've always been fine, but you collapsed. You weren't breathing right," I thought. "We don't do that here," she said, still smiling. Then she turned back to her roses, humming softly. "We don't do that here." Those words lodged in my brain like a splinter. I couldn't shake them. That night, I drove around town, really looked at it for the first time. The streets were pristine, the houses all perfectly maintained. But something was off. There were no old buildings, no historical markers. The oldest structure I could find was the library, and even that looked maybe 30 years old at most. I went to the library the next morning. Asked the librarian, a middle-aged man with wire-rimmed glasses and that same gentle smile, about the town's history. "Oh, we're a young community," he said. "Millbrook was founded in 1995. 1995. That was only 28 years ago. But Mrs. Chen had told me stories about growing up here, about the old mill that gave the town its name, about streets that didn't exist anymore. What about the original settlement?" I pressed. "Before it was incorporated?" His smile never wavered. "There was nothing here before, just empty land. Millbrook is all there's ever been. Hearted ration. Atre say." I pulled out my phone, started searching for information about the town. Wikipedia had a stub article. No references, no sources. Just 3 sentences about a planned community established in the mid-90s. I searched for news articles, historical records, anything. The digital trail went cold after 2008. That's when I decided to drive around more carefully. There was no cemetery, not a single graveyard, no church burial grounds, no memorial parks, nothing. In a town of 15,000 people, spanning nearly 3 decades, there should have been something. Someone should have died. Car accidents, heart attacks, cancer, old age, something. I drove to the edge of town, following the roads until they just stopped. Not at a highway or another town. They just ended in neat cul-de-sacs with road ends signs. Beyond them, fields stretched out forever, flat and empty. No buildings. Nothing. The hospital was small but modern. I walked in like I belonged there, wandering the halls. Maternity ward, emergency room, ICU, surgery, but no morgue. I found a janitor's closet where the morgue should have been. She gave me that smile. "We don't need one," she said. "We don't do that here." There it was again. Those words. I started asking around. Casual questions at first. At the grocery store, at the coffee shop, at the park. "Has anyone died recently? Do you know where the cemetery is? Have you ever been to a funeral in Millbrook?" Every single person gave me the same answer with the same peaceful smile. "We don't do that here." Some of them would add little variations. "Why would you ask about such things?" Or, "That's not something we worry about." But always smiling, always calm, like I'd asked them about the weather. I found the town records office. The clerk was a young woman. Couldn't have been more than 25. I asked to see death certificates, birth certificates. Sure. Marriage licenses? No problem. But death certificates? "We don't have those," she said, smiling. "You don't have them filed, or you don't have any at all? We don't do that here." I slammed my hand on the counter. Harder than I meant to. People die. It's a fact of life. What happens when someone gets old? Gets sick? Gets in an accident? Where do they go? Her smile never flickered. Everyone is taken care of in Millbrook. That's what makes it such a wonderful place to live. I left before I started screaming. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the neighborhood. Kids laughing, dogs barking, ordinary sounds, but underneath them, I swear I could hear something else. A low hum, almost musical, like a lullaby sung from very far away. I got up and looked out the window. The streets were empty. The streetlights cast everything in amber. And in that light, I saw Mr. Patterson from 3 houses down, taking out his trash. Mr. Patterson, who told me he was 87 years old, who walked with a cane and had liver spots covering his hands. Except he wasn't walking with a cane anymore. He moved smoothly, easily, like a man half his age. And as he set down the trash can, he looked up, directly at my window, directly at me. He smiled. I jerked back from the window, heart hammering. When I dared to look again, the next day, I decided to test something. I drove to the edge of town again, this time determined to leave. Just get on the road and keep driving until I hit another town, another city, anywhere else. I drove for 20 minutes, 30. Eventually, I saw a sign up ahead. "Welcome to Millbrook." I'd driven in a circle. Somehow, impossibly, the road had looped back on itself. I tried the western road. Same thing. Northern, southern. Every road led back to Millbrook. I even tried off-roading across the fields, but my car just stopped. Engine died. Wouldn't start again until I turned back toward town. I was trapped. That night, I sat in my living room with every light on, trying to make sense of it. My phone had no signal. My internet worked, but only for certain sites. Anything about Millbrook redirected to that same useless Wikipedia page. I couldn't email anyone outside town. Couldn't call. There was a knock at my door. I froze. Through the peephole, I saw a group of my neighbors. Mrs. Chen, Mr. Patterson, the librarian, the nurse from the hospital, all smiling those same serene smiles. "We know you have questions," Mrs. Chen called through the door. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. "We don't do that here," Mr. Patterson said. "You know that now. But do you understand why?" I stayed silent. "Death is a choice," the librarian said. "Suffering is a choice. Pain, loss, grief, all choices. We chose differently. We chose forever." "Let us in," the nurse said, still smiling. "Let us help you choose." I backed away from the door. "You can't leave," Mrs. Chen said, her voice sickeningly sweet. "The roads won't let you. The town takes care of its own. Everyone here is happy. Everyone here is safe. Everyone here is forever. Open the door," they said in unison. "We don't do that here. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. We don't do that here." The handle began to turn. I ran. Out the back door. Through my yard. Into the woods behind the development. The woods I'd never explored because they seemed to go on forever. I ran until my lungs burned, until my legs screamed, until I couldn't hear their voices anymore. And then I found it. In a clearing, surrounded by perfect darkness, stood a building. Old, ancient, even, made of stone that seemed to absorb the moonlight. No windows, just a single door, slightly ajar. I should have run the other way. Every instinct told me to. But I heard something inside. Voices. Crying. Screaming. The sounds of everything Millbrook wasn't. I pushed the door open. The smell hit me first. Rot. Decay. Death. Real death. Not the sanitized absence of it. The room was vast, stretching back into darkness. And it was filled with them. Bodies. Hundreds of them. Thousands, maybe. Suspended in something that looked like amber or honey, glowing faintly. All the people who should have died in Millbrook over the years. And they were aware. I could see it in their eyes. The terror. The agony. They weren't dead, but they weren't alive either. They were trapped in that moment of dying, stretched out forever, an eternity of the worst moment of their lives. In the center of the room was Mrs. Chen. The real Mrs. Chen. The one who'd collapsed in her garden, suspended in that glowing amber, her mouth open in a silent scream, her hands clawing at nothing. "We don't do that here," a voice said behind me. I spun around. The thing that spoke wore the librarian's face, but its smile was too wide now, inhuman. "We don't allow death. We don't allow endings. Everyone stays. Everyone is preserved. The moment before death, the sweetest moment, when life fights hardest to continue, we keep that forever." "You're not real," I whispered. "The town isn't real. We're all very real," it said, stepping closer. "We're what happens when a place decides it never wants to lose anyone. When the grief becomes too much. When a community loves so hard it breaks the rules." Its smile grew wider. "We don't do that here. And soon, you won't either. It's break support 5-rater. And that we do that." Its smile grew wider. I felt hands on my shoulders. More of them, crowding in behind me. All wearing familiar faces. All smiling. "Don't worry," they whispered. "When your time comes, we'll bring you here. Suspend you in your final moment. You'll never truly die. You'll never leave us. You'll be part of Millbrook forever." I tried to scream, but no sound came out. "We don't do that here. We don't do that here." The amber began to crawl up my legs. I'm recording this on my phone, the only thing that still seems to work. The amber is at my waist now, cold and thick and alive. I can feel it reading me, learning the exact moment when I'll break, when I'll cross from living to dying, and that's where it'll keep me. If you're listening to this, if somehow this recording made it out of Millbrook, don't come looking for me. Don't try to find this town. If you see a place that seems too perfect, where everyone smiles too much, where nothing ever seems to go wrong, drive past it. Keep driving. And if someone tells you we don't do that here when you ask about death, run. The amber is at my chest now. I can feel my heartbeat slowing. They're all around me, still smiling, welcoming me to forever. I can see Mrs. Chen in her prison, still trying to scream. Because the thing about Millbrook is, it's growing. Every year, the borders expand. More roads, more houses, more perfect neighbors with perfect smiles. More people who will never die. More people who will wish they could. The amber is at my throat. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. We don't.